Hello, good evening and welcome to the program. This is Daily Politics on Trust TV. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you most kindly for joining us. Emerging signs of trouble are brewing in the African Democratic Congress, the ADC, as factional cracks deepen across some states like Adamawa and Kaduna State, home states of Atiku Abubakar and Nasser El-Rufai. The party appears split over who its legitimate leaders are on the interim basis, with reports of rival groups jostling for control ahead of the 2027 elections. At the same time, the Tinubu administration's claim that the economy is on the path to recovery continues to face scrutiny, while officials point to improved inflation figures, GDP growth and foreign investment flows. Opposition voices are arguing that the government is politically padding the data as public confidence continues to wane. On Daily Politics tonight, we'll be speaking with the National Publicity Secretary of the African Democratic Congress, Bolaji Abdullahi, about this and many other issues developing within the polity. But first things first, let's bring you up to speed with the latest political stories across the country.
After backlash for granting a presidential pardon to Mariam Sanda, sentenced to death in 2020 for killing her husband, Biliaminu Bello, President Bola Tinubu has revoked the pardon and replaced it with a 12-year prison term. The development was confirmed in an official gazette released by Bayo Nanuga, special advisor to the President on Information and Strategy. According to the document, Sanda, who has spent 6 years and 8 months at the Suleja Medium Security Custodial Center, received a new term on compassionate grounds. President Bola Tinubu has signed the Instrument of Clemency and Pardons, formally exercising his constitutional powers to grant mercy to selected convicts. After consultations with the Council of State and review of public feedback, Tinubu ordered a fresh vetting of the earlier list. Those convicted of kidnapping, drug trafficking, human trafficking, fraud, and illegal arms possession were removed, while others previously pardoned had their sentences commuted. Olufemi Oloide, nominee for Chief of Defense Staff, has called for a local military-industrial complex and restructuring of the Nigeria Police Force to improve internal security. At his Senate screening on Wednesday, Oloide said Nigeria's reliance on foreign countries for military hardware is unsustainable and costly. The House of Representatives has approved President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's request to implement the new external borrowing plan under the 2025 Appropriation Act. The plan includes refinancing maturing Eurobonds and issuing a debut sovereign sukuk on the international capital market. The report by the Committee on Loans and Debts, presented by Hassan Nalaraba, sparked brief drama when Deputy House Leader Abdullahi Halims called for it to be stepped down after initially supporting it. The Department of State Services, DSS, has arrested Innocent Chukuma in Oyibo, Port Harcourt, for using X's Twitter account to call on the military to overthrow the government. Posting under the handle at the Agroman, Chukuma urged soldiers to depose of APC, suspend the Nigerian government and join the AES, claiming a coup was needed to save the country.
Right. The latest political developments in the country. Let's bring our guest into the conversation, where we'll focus on developments within the ADC as well as Nigeria's state of the nation regarding the economy, as well as all the issues in between. Mr. Bolaji Abdullahi, the National Publicity Secretary of the ADC, is here to provide us some context as well as analysis. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. It's good to see you again.
Thank you very much. My pleasure. Good to see you. Always good to see you.
Right. Let's start with what we're hearing, at least the latest reporting from the presidency about the revised pardon and clemency list. They've moved some people from the pardon list to the clemency list, and I believe that you've had taken time to read not just the statement, but of course a look at what they've done. What do you make of this one? There are some commendations as well as criticisms for the latest action. Where do you stand on this?
Well, I mean, if you are looking for, if you want to frame what happened as a case of government listening to public outcry, you say, oh, they listen to the people, they are a listening government, then you can say, okay, maybe there's a reason to commend the government or the administration for listening to the to the voice of the concerns of the people regarding the issue of amnesty and how the presidential power of clemency is used. That's fine. But it's a lot more fundamental than that. And what is fundamental about it? What happened in the first instance, the original list that was released, was not a mistake. It was released by this administration. It wasn't leaked. It was released by the government. So sometimes you have a feeling that this government just wants to see what they can get away with, regardless of how obnoxious their actions are. They want to see what they can get away with, how far they could go in doing some things. Then when they hit the brick wall, or when they feel that, oh, this from a public relations point of view, because the government is obsessed with propaganda. The government is obsessed with imaging rather than substance, right? So it's as if they wanted to see how far they could go in pushing the original list. So when they saw the avalanche of pushback from across the country, and of course the wider world, then they began to say, okay, this might hurt us from a PR point of view. Not that they think significantly or fundamentally what they did was wrong, was because it might hurt them from a PR point of view. Then they quickly backtracked, and now they are saying, oh, we are moving this person from pardon to clemency, we are reducing this to 12 years imprisonment. Of course, when they saw the family of Biliamino, the way they reacted. So all this is, but it's characteristic of this administration. Sometimes you wonder if there is any serious space where they debate these things before they push it out. I think they are always like too eager to go out there rather than doing the right thing.
You don't give them credit for at least appearing to keep an open mind about their policies or programs. Because some have given them credit for at least reacting this way. We've seen governments in time past who don't care about public backlash.
Yeah.
Who just have a tunnel vision about what they want to do, regardless of what the people are saying.
That's why I said if you want to frame them as a listening government, then you have this as an opportunity to clap for them, to say they are listening. But what we are saying is that they didn't listen because they thought that what they did was wrong. They listened because they felt it might hurt them from a PR point of view. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's a difference. If you believe what you did was wrong, or you believe that people don't agree with what you do, then you backtrack.
But do you think this was solely a Tinubu administration decision? I mean, we had the National Council of State, which is a combination of a lot of things. Past leaders, current leaders, leaders on different political spectrum. So is this solely a Tinubu administration affair? Do you think it's fair to put everything on?
It's not even about Tinubu administration. You see, the president of Nigeria is like a constitutional monarch. Every power, all the power of the executive. You see, the judicial power is vested in the institution of judiciary, right? The legislative power is vested in the institution of the National Assembly, or the legislature. But the executive power or presidential power is vested in the individual of the president. And the exercise of the prerogative of man, that's why it's a presidential prerogative, right? You could consult with the Council of States, but ultimately, who decides what gets done? The president of Nigeria. He's that powerful, right? So before this went out in the first instance, was there any place? All that they are saying, and I've read the government, the president's comment in the latest release today, and I think it's brilliant. I think all the issues he addressed, that okay, going forward, they will move the issue of prerogative of mercy from the Ministry of Special Duties to the Ministry of Justice, and all that. I think those are good things. But the question you ask yourself, they didn't think of all this? I think somehow you have a feeling that they are always in a hurry to get to see what PR benefit they could get from their policies, so they don't really think through it. So sometimes you wonder, do these people really get it? That what they are doing has the kind of repercussions, that it normally, So
I mean, just so we're clear, are you making a moral argument? Because there's no legal argument against the actions. Everything was done by the book.
There's no legal argument.
Right.
There's no legal argument because the Constitution of Nigeria conferred the power of prerogative of mercy on the President of Nigeria.
So they've not done anything illegal?
No, they've not done anything illegal.
So you're just making a moral argument, or what is it exactly?
Is it a moral argument that you release 51 drug dealers having been convicted? Because law itself is based on societal values. The law of any country is anchored on the social values of the country, what the people hold dear, and the totality of what the people expect from their government, right? So there's nothing illegal in what they did. But the question is, the president, can the president honestly justify releasing 51 drug dealers in one fell swoop? Or even if it's incremental? Don't forget, number one, the NDLEA, the men and women who fight tooth and nail to arrest these drug dealers and obtain conviction, sometimes at the risk to their lives. And after conviction, these drug dealers were supposed to spend life imprisonment, sometimes many, many years in prison. Then after 2 years, what happened? You release them. So what happened to the witnesses that testified against them? What happened to these officers that actually stood against them in court when you release them after 2 years? Then what was the president? Don't forget what Bayo Ononuga told us when the first list was released, that some of them have repented of their offenses, they've been of good behavior. As a matter of fact, some of them have actually learned some trade. Come on.
But there's nothing peculiar about Nigeria in this particular area. I mean, the whole idea of prerogative of mercy is a global accepted practice.
Based on defined principles. And what is the fundamental principle? What social value will it bring to the society? What value will it bring to the society? If we release this person, most countries where they exercise, all countries have it in one form or the other. For most countries, the fundamental is, number one, has there been miscarriage of justice in one way or the other that we want to use the prerogative of mercy to correct? For example, if you have kept someone on awaiting trial for 20 years, right? Then the person eventually got convicted, right? The president could use the prerogative of mercy to release such individual having spent 20 years awaiting trial, right? So has there been miscarriage of justice? Is there any benefit that releasing this individual could bring to the society? Or is there anything you're trying to correct? Or has this person served in any outstanding way? For example, someone in prison, while in prison, got a PhD, or then you could say, okay, you release this person. So, what social dividend did Nigeria stand to get from government releasing a drug dealer back into the society, a convicted drug dealer?
But as the case is, a lot of the people on that list applied for the prerogative of mercy, as we have come to understand. And there's a committee that stood and attended to the applications and felt, listen, they've met the necessary requirements. I mean, there's a step-by-step process. Much of it didn't come from the government side.
No, but the point is this, only one person has the power to exercise it belongs to, that power belongs to only one person in this country. That's the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
And up until this moment, no sort of action had been taken, because until it's gazetted, the status quo remains the same.
It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
No, you know what?
I mean, effectively, nothing had happened until today.
In the first place, the question, I think you were just playing a game with me. When you release to say, because it was actually justified when the list was first released, it said the president, in the exercise of his power of prerogative of mercy, has released these people.
Actually approved.
Or has approved the following list, and they actually and they try to justify it. So when you make it look like, or it's something they're just still considering. It's not something they've made up their mind on, right? So what exactly happened? Because when they released that list, they made it clear that the president had approved it. Then a few weeks later, after all the PR disaster, then the president didn't approve again. Then now it's the Gazette that will tell us the real story. So there's a whole lot of what I would call omnishambolic conduct from this government that you wonder if anybody is really thinking through all this.